Sakıncası yok mu sizler için? Ben de ses kaydı alabilir miyim? Hani bir sürekli işte belki bir şeyler gelir. Siz ünlü yaparım. Tamam, okay. So, first of all, I'd like to thank the administration, Figen Hocam, Yıldız Hocam, Can Hocam, for the welcoming, supportive, and really friendly attitude since the beginning, and support and encouragement throughout the study. And my fabulous Figen Hocam as the representative of the control group and experimental group. I mean, they were perfect. They were fabulous. They were so hardworking, so dedicated, so devoted, and so, I mean, any researcher cannot imagine a better group to work with. I can't thank you enough. So today, this is my title, by the way, my dissertation's title, The Impact of EFL Instructors' Motivation Strategy Use on Alternate Motivation. Oops, ne yapıyor orada? An explanatory mixed method study in the Turkish EFL context. So, as you kind of imagine, this is going to be published on our service dissertation database, and hundreds of other universities and thousands of other researchers and students will have access to this. So I thought this would be a perfect way to represent MITU. First, Turkish EFL context, but my main purpose was to represent MITU. So, hoş geldin Ali. Bilgisayarı Türkçe dile çevirdim de Türkçe surveyleri Türkçe çevirdi. O da her şeyi Türkçe çevirmiş, anlamadım. Neyse.
Nerede çok oraya yerleş.
So first, I will briefly, in my presentation, I will briefly talk about the needs analysis in the department by Arge, and we have the representative here, and how motivational teaching practice that we aimed to develop via this study intends to meet this need. And then I'll briefly touch upon literature review on alternate motivation, the significance of alternate motivation without boring you, I promise it will be only one slide. And then I'm going to briefly talk about the preliminary results of the classroom observations in both of the control and experimental groups, and the interviews mostly by students and a little bit of teacher interviews as well. And then, if we have time, I would like to discuss the motivational strategy list that I have the copies here for you. I would like us to, talk about them a little bit, and then maybe if we have time, we can talk about how we can transfer these motivational strategies to our 102 courses. I mean, content and syllabus-wise, if we can. Or we can talk about how functional or appropriate these strategies for us to use for our unique student group. So your RD findings tell us that the most significant problem that you are dealing here at the department, I mean, while I was a teacher here in 2007, I also experienced this problem myself as well, right? And this is not only unique to this department, but for foreign language teaching, student motivation and lack of motivation of students is the biggest challenge that we as language teachers experience, right? Your RD results are not any different. So lack of motivation on students, lack of consistency and effort, maybe lack of vision or lack of linguistic confidence could also be added to this list. So what does this study aim to achieve by this study is to be able to meet the needs of the students. So basically our motivational teaching practice that we try to develop through the study is to address or enhance our students' auto-motivation and to promote our students' confidence, linguistic confidence, or emotional, affective confidence, persistency and effort and vision for themselves, for their future as efficient, effective auto users. And, of course, to improve motivational teaching practice of our experienced teachers. So, çok küçük diyeceğim literature review çünkü I know you already know what motivation is, I already know what is the significance of alternate motivation for us, for our students' achievement. But şöyle küçük bir değinelim arkadaşlar. So, what is the significance of alternate motivation? The research tells us this is the summary of... Ya bir burada oturabilir mi? Vallahi çok memnunum. Çünkü burada gidiyorum. Şeyimi unutmuşum, Arapçayı unutmuşum, Amerika'da buraya getirmeyi.
You're saying me all change the slide.
Teşekkür, art olması. Çok teşekkür ediyorum. Bu arkadaşlar, this is the summary of or overview of auto motivation research. Sana hemen hızlıca geçeceğim. Auto motivation is the primary impetus to initiate auto learning. And it is one of the strongest determinants of our students' auto learning achievement. And it is the most studied individual difference construct. You know, there are tons of individual difference constructs, and there are a lot of studies based on them as well. However, motivation is the winner. And it is the driving force to sustain. Let's underline this because this is one of our biggest problems, I guess, right? To sustain their motivation. So it's the driving force to sustain the long and often tedious learning process. And highly motivated, oh, this is a good result, you're gonna like this. Highly motivated individuals attain higher language competence in a shorter amount of time when compared to those who are not motivated to learn an auto. And the last one, motivational traits override aptitude. Hani hep böyle derler ya, hocam yeteneğim ne yapayım? Ama research shows us that motivational traits override aptitude provided that the immediate situation, the immediate learning environment requires efficiency in the auto. And if we do, and Mitch is an English medium university, and I think we have the required situation, so everything is on our side. Peki o zaman, why is auto motivation studied so much? Why is it the most studied individual difference? Why is it so important? How can we be so sure that it is so important for auto achievement? Then we say that because auto motivation is so dynamic, which means we as the teachers have the control in our hands. Of course, there are always exceptions. We are not talking about extremes here. We're talking about in general, right? So it's dynamic, so we can change it. Someone with very low motivation can be enhanced in terms of auto motivation in the hands of the right teacher, right? Diyelim. And it's very multifaceted. It's a very complex phenomenon. Because of that, there are a lot of factors that affect auto motivation, and that's why it's so dynamic. Hemen bakalım neden bu kadar multifacetedmiş. Hızlı geçelim hocam buraya çünkü bir sürü şeyler gelecek. Çünkü all of these components, hızlı geçelim buraya. All of these components are included in the şimdi geri gidelim bir. Süper. Description of auto learning motivation. Şöyle bir dakika bırakayım size bir saniye. And we can add to this list, right? Canım?
Recording var, bitiyor, Türkçe bir şey geçiyor.
Olsun, bir şey olmaz. Nerede Türkçe var? Do I say Turkish things? No, all good. It's okay. It's nothing related to content, so it's okay. So as you see, I mean, we already know that, right? Auto motivation is a multifaceted and complex phenomenon, and all of these, and even maybe we can add more to this list, is related to the auto motivation. Thank you. Geçelim hemen burayı da hızlı bir şekilde. Auto teachers, research tells us that auto teachers' reasonable expectations, consistent and systematic use of motivational strategies, which was the aim of this study, and their own motivated behaviors increase students' auto motivation, and research shows us that students also find teachers' behavior, teachers' motivation as the most significant factor on their auto motivation, and we will see in a minute our results also support that. Geçelim hocam. Motivating students is one of the most difficult challenges that auto teachers experience, especially the novice teachers. There is a lot of research focusing on this. They do interviews, they do case studies with novice auto teachers, and they all point out students' motivation is the biggest challenge that they have, that they face. Teachers' motivation strategies enhance the students' ideal auto selves, like the auto selves, the self that they want to become, that they dream of becoming, who can efficiently and effectively use the auto for communicative purposes. So if this is the ideal auto self in the students that we want to increase or improve, right, then teachers' motivation strategy use is our biggest tool to achieve this. Teşekkürler. We are talking about motivational strategies, but what are these motivational strategies? That was the first question of my committee members. Motivational strategies are the motivational influences that are consciously exerted to achieve some systematic and enduring positive effects on also learners' goal-related behaviors. And what is our goal in our classes? To improve their English proficiency and to improve their also motivation and to make them more aware and conscious also users, right? So, thank you. Geçelim hocam buraya. Şimdi, my study has been completed of course it's still going on, but we can say that it has been completed because most is done. In 3 stages. The first stage was the quantitative stage, exploratory stage. Through surveys, I examined the motivational strategy use of instructors and also examined students' perceptions of their instructors' motivational strategies. Because we use these motivational strategies, we try to integrate them into our teaching, but how much of that we really are able to convey to our students, how much of that students are able to perceive, right? So that exploratory phase showed us this. And then the second phase was the classroom observations. Still I had surveys as well. And the treatment workshop with my 3 experimental group instructors, Elif Hocam, Filiz Hocam, and Hayri Hocam. We had 6 hours of workshop for motivational strategies, and that included the quantitative and qualitative phase because the classroom observations were coded quantitatively and qualitatively with reflective notes and post-observation qualitative notes, plus my instructor's reflections, plus their strategy log views. And then the last phase is completely qualitative, still going on, and it's the interviews with students, high motivated, low motivated students from the experimental group classes, and interviews with the experimental group instructors. And now, today, as you can imagine, I have tons of data, and I haven't been able to analyze all of them yet. However, I will try to share with you the preliminary results. Preliminary results of the classroom observations and the interviews, especially with the students, and a little bit of instructors, because there is still one instructor with whom I couldn't conduct the interview yet. Okay. So, the classroom observations. Niye bütün bilgiler böyle olmuş? Gerçekten kusura bakmayın.
Yeah, I have the same problem yesterday, don't worry. We know it.
Ondan mı? Tabii bilgisayardan mı? Allah'ım ya.
But the world will not record that.
So the classroom observations and the surveys that I collected from the instructors and also their students indicate that these are the most frequently used motivational strategies in this department. Social chat, clear statement of lesson objectives, pleasant and supportive atmosphere, breaking the monotony of the classroom events, motivating pedagogical, collaborative, interactive tasks, pair works, group works, especially collaborative group works, or whole class discussions, positive reinforcement coming from the teacher, of course, establishing relevance, and giving a genuine purpose for activities, bringing in and encouraging humor, and promoting instrumental values. Now, some of the strategies have 3 stars next to them. Why do you think?
Mostly.
They have. Mostly used. They're all mostly used.
They're
One more,
from
yes?
students' perspective.
Ah, good, but no.
Your favorites?
Definitely true, but no. They're my favorite, by the way.
They're from the teacher's perspective.
Nope.
Oh,
These strategies are the strategies that were mostly used after the treatment workshops. So, as you remember, pre-treatment observations were conducted with the experimental group teachers, and the surveys were also collected from many of the instructors who were not in the experimental group, right? So this preliminary result list comes from all this data. And the ones that have stars were mostly used by the experimental group instructors, especially after the treatment. I say especially because some of them were already used before the treatment as well. But they were especially more frequently used after the treatment. And let's move on to the next slide. Here you have the definitions of each strategy, what it really refers to in the literature. And I do have a handout of the same table for you here. So if you want to look at them, here you are. And I'm happy to email these to InfoJug so that you can share with the instructors as well.
Will you talk about what the literature says regarding...
But I'll share the PowerPoint.
No, okay.
So social chat, we sometimes try to do, sometimes we forget, but the teacher interviews plus the student interviews indicate that students love this, because I especially ask them what they think about it. I wanted them to elaborate on the reflection of these types of activities or checks that the teacher does at the beginning of the class, and they said, oh, I felt more comfortable. Oh, I felt like this was my family. I felt like this was the place I belonged to. So they accept that, and teachers also accept that as well. It definitely promotes the interaction, friendly interaction between the students, and also between the students and the teacher as well. Pleasant, supportive atmosphere, as we can easily guess, is also extremely crucial, especially considering the fact that foreign language anxiety is a big deal, right? Especially for a lot of students in EFL contexts. So establishing a norm of tolerance, encouraging risk-taking, and having mistakes accepted as a natural part of learning, and plus bringing a little bit of spice into the class, encouraging humor, bringing in humor yourself, really influences the atmosphere of the class in a very positive way to promote our two achievements. If you want, we can talk about these, because my instructors, experimental group instructors, use these, use different techniques that are not listed here, but were able to achieve the ultimate motivational strategy goal, and we can share them with you later. Let's finish this first, and then we can do a discussion part later. Would that work for you?
Yep.
Perfect. Giving genuine purpose is not telling the students what they're going to do, like telling the objective of the activity, but it's a little bit more broad, as you see. While presenting an activity or a task, mentioning its communicative purposes, its usefulness outside of the classroom, its cross-curricular utility, or the way it fits into a sequence of activities planned for the lesson, or even maybe the activity objectives are clearly stated for them, so that they know that they can transfer this knowledge into their departmental courses or into their academic or future professional goals. This, if you ask me, somehow relates to the establishing relevance, because here we do it somehow similar, connecting what has to be learned in class to students' majors, future professions, and their everyday lives. And students, to be honest, I can't wait to share them with you, so I don't. They think these two were the most helpful to them, and they said that they were more aware. So these really help a lot. And breaking, of course, this is making the class more fun, more enjoyable. This is something we already know, right? So let's move on. In the second part, one of the most frequently used strategy was the motivating pedagogical tasks. Here, I would like to point out one thing that, what am I trying to say? That
attract your attention? Inspired you?
That was appreciated by the students the most, let's say. Where is it? Curiosity. Can you see curiosity? Yeah. They loved this. And teachers' feedback for this was also really worth mentioning. If the task contained controversial or contradictory or humorous or competitive a little bit, but there's a very, very thin line between competitiveness in a good way or competitiveness that is closer to rivalry. They hate that rivalry part because of the low self-confidence, maybe it even decreases their motivation. So we gotta be careful about this. Creative material influence connects with students' interests, values, creativity, fantasy, arousals, curiosity, challenging but still manageable tasks. They want to be challenged. One student mentioned, if the teacher praises me for an activity that was quite easy, I don't feel good about it, I feel humiliated, he said. And these are brilliant, smart students. They want to be challenged, but they don't want to feel inefficient either. So there's a very thin line again, and we've got to be very careful about that. So, the rest we already know. Geçelim hocam buraya. Zaten we will talk about these strategies later. There are a couple of strategies or activities or tasks that I would like to share with you that my experimental group instructors developed throughout the semester. Throughout the semester, we created a group share email traffic. Whoever prepared something interesting or whatever worked really well in the class, we emailed the others, the 3 experimental groups, including myself, of course, and we shared our reflections. We even had a meeting at the very in the middle of the study, I guess, and we shared our reflections. And Heidi is here, so I'm sure she would help me if I forget anything. To promote positive attitudes for Alto, or for Alto learning, or for Alto culture and Western cultures, whatever. Here, Western, let's put a question mark, wherever English is spoken, and English is spoken everywhere, so it can be a global thing, not only specifically America or England. It's not what I mean, okay? So how do we do this throughout the semester? My instructors used videos prepared by some Turkish students and academicians working in the US or studying working on their PhDs in the US, and those videos were prepared by my friends, and they were real people, so we know that they are really there on scholarships, and they're doing they were successful in their programs, etc. So they used those videos and they turned them into an activity, and they required their students to prepare videos just like them. So the purpose for these was not only to increase students' awareness, but also to poke them a little bit to have dreams, big dreams of them as efficient, effective English users. Like working on PhDs in England or in America, or attending professional international conferences, presenting, because those kinds of vivid imagery of them using English effectively really increases their motivation. Plus, it also helps linguistic confidence booster as well. So we use a lot of authentic videos, this time by really famous linguists like David Crystal, for example. And they created different activities and tasks, and they're happy to share them with you as well. Değil mi hocam? Yanlış değil.
Yes. Are you
Evet, Hadiye soruyorum. Öyle konuşmuştuk, öyle hatırlıyorum. They're happy to share them.
I don't know. I didn't prepare the videos. So for the videos, they have to get the consent from the students. So that's why I don't know.
No, not the student videos. I'm talking about the tasks you prepared for this. Because if I'm not wrong, at the meeting we said that we would be happy to share them with the faculty, right? Öyle hatırlıyorum. So enhancing students' visualization or ideal AltoSAF. Remember what we said about ideal AltoSAF? I have the slides that explain ideal AltoSAF and the latest Alto motivation framework we've done yet. Maybe you might have heard Alto motivational staff system with 3 different components. If we have time and if you are interested, we can go over that slide as well. So bunun için ne yaptık? We asked students first watch similar videos and teachers shared those videos on social media, closed Facebook groups with their students, and then they asked them to, of course they gave a huge, like a page-long task, and I have it in my, flash disk, and if you want I can share it with you as well. We asked them to videotape themselves, and students really pretended that they were professors. One of them was wearing a white, long,
Eagle of those
lab cloth, something like that, and he was wearing glasses. Normally he's not wearing glasses, so he was sitting in front of the computer as if it was his desk in his office, and he was talking to current mid-to-engineering students about the significance of English and how English helped him achieve his dreams, something like that. They were so cute, and teachers are willing to share those videos as well. I mean, they really worked well. Geçelim hocam. Birkaç tane daha kaldı. So some example activities from the semester would be like interactive and collaborative games. I chose the tasks or activities our experimental group instructors, we all together, sometimes we work together, prepared based on students' interview feedback. Students found the interactive and collaborative group works as one of the most influential factors on their attitude, motivation and success as well. So I thought if I share them, it would make more sense. For example, we prepared a lot of, my instructors prepared a lot of games like the Old Maid and Erdil was the one who prepared it. We used Coded, almost all of the instructors used this Coded either to wrap up something that they worked on or to check comprehension of a reading text. They used a lot of vocabulary board games, bingo games, and some other games, of which names I don't even know. They completely created themselves, their creativity was off top. So, the second activity group would be the Erdil self-image booster activities. For example, one of my instructors used a graded speaking task, and it was an attractive project to be completed outside of the class time by videotaping, by students of course, videotaping themselves, giving advice to current mid-to students about why they should learn English. Teachers created different scenarios, and students worked on those scenarios and they prepared videos. Motivational letter to students. One of the instructors wrote a motivational letter to her students, and this is how she started the letter. Hi, I'm writing this letter to you because you're my student and I feel responsible for your progress in English. And the letter goes on, giving a lot of positive reinforcement, building up on their linguistic confidence in the class, sharing her reflections and perceptions of their participation and what it really means to the teacher. And she said that she received very positive feedback from the students. It was so cute. We use some motivational quotes. If you had a chance to look at the strategies, one of the strategies tells us that we should share public figures, opinions of public figures. We should share what famous people think about language learning, English, and how it could be beneficial for students' future. So we prepared PowerPoints, for example, with motivational quotes on them, and then teachers prepared some reflective activities and put students in groups and asked them to discuss what the quote really means and what it means for their future dreams, something like that. And I can share those PowerPoints as well. Information gap, my favorite. I love information gap activities. We did a lot and students loved them. Sometimes teachers ask students to teach each other. And that not only motivated them and made them more active participants of the class, but also gave them some sort of autonomy because students chose how to teach, what to teach. Maybe not what to teach, but at least how to teach and how much of that information was based on students' background or how much of that information that shared with the partner was based on the text. So students really had autonomy organizing the teaching sections. It really was a fabulous class. Every single student in class spoken English for the whole 2-hour class period. And I was sitting in awe, just typing, like writing, taking field notes like crazy. It was a fabulous lesson. When they're so active, they sparkle. And when they sparkle, the teacher sparkles, and the researcher sparkles even more. So teachers use social media. Teachers use social media, especially Facebook, but if you want to use something different, of course you can. They had closed class groups and they shared materials with the students. They shared some videos with the students on Facebook, and they asked students to share their videos on Facebook as well. Because it was a closed group, everyone was happy about it, I guess, because I cannot imagine a teacher doing this without getting the confirmation of the students or consent of the students. So anyway, they watched each other videos, and they also reflected on, like, wrote comments on friends' videos. So they watched each other, they learned from each other. It was a fabulous activity. And competition reading activity in collaborative groups, sometimes teachers did not jumbled reading, because I don't believe in the benefit of jumbled reading, because I want the complete whole text to be read at once. However, this jumbled and competition style reading activity in collaborative groups was fantastic. Edith prepared it, and if you want, I'm sure she would be willing to give you more information about it. It was a great long text reading, the best, the most fun long text reading class I have ever observed, by the way. Geçelim hocam. Şimdi interview, my favorite, the interview results of students. Students said that clear statement of objectives at the very beginning of the class made them feel very comfortable and they loved it. And these are the strategies, the blue typed ones are the strategies students said is the most helpful, and these orange ones in quotations are some of the words that I directly took from students' interviews. So one of the students said, for example, oh, I feel more secure and safe when I know what's coming. Sometimes, you can just do it verbally, or sometimes you can just write it on the board, and students said more positive things when the objectives were written on the board. They love collaborative group works, group activities, and one of them said, I don't realize when the class ended when we do this, when we work in groups. Another one said, they all said more interaction among students was also one of the favorites, and one of them said, I feel more comfortable and I enjoy the lesson more, and I don't feel like this is a lesson, but I feel like I'm having fun with friends. Then there is a lot of interaction among students. So this tells us that lecture is not what they favor, because one of them said that they're already exposed to lectures all the time in their auditorium style college classes. And English classes, they perceive English classes as different than their regular departmental courses. And one of the reasons was these two, if I'm not wrong. Authentic materials, and they all said, oh, like videos, we watch this, we watch that. And one of them said, we watch your husband's video. And it wasn't my husband, he wasn't my husband, so I don't know why they thought that way, but it was good that he remembered. So that means the activity worked. The activity was able to reach to the student, right? So authentic materials like videos or speeches of experts, they love it. And games like coveted, stress-free. I'm underlining this because some of them pointed out that when the game underlines the rivalry part of the competition, and they're not feeling comfortable, and they say fun, and we love it. We don't even understand that we're learning, we just feel like we're having fun, but we're learning at the same time because teachers use coded for vocabulary and for content as well. Synthesis activities with videos and reading texts, my instructors use this a lot. They did not only ask students to synthesize the content of the videos with the readings in the book, but they also asked them to watch the videos and find similarities and commonalities, which was an introduction to synthesis skill, which was perfect. They also asked them to write reflections and sometimes share reflections in group work for speaking activity. Students said, I feel more confident when I see I can produce something in English. That That was awesome. Awareness raising videos. You know which videos I'm talking about here? The videos that my Turkish friends and the professors did. For example, in the videos, one of the students that I asked to videotape himself is a biomolecular engineer or something working on his PhD. And he said, you know, to be alive, you need to breathe. And to be a successful engineer, you have to know English. So what is breath for us to be alive is English for us to be successful engineers. So this was just perfect. And one of the professors who had a video said that English did not only open a lot of doors and windows in front of him, he also said English brought the world to him. And he said this in English and then in Turkish. That was very influential. And students said, one of the students used this. That was an aha moment for me. That was awesome. Sample models, like sample essays, I mean, and working on them and giving feedback. Some teachers ask students to evaluate and give feedback, even grade, previous semester's sample essays. So students took the autonomy, they became the teachers, and they evaluated the essay, the good parts, the weaknesses, strengths, etc. So that was awareness raising, and students said they felt more confident because they knew what they were about to write, what they should do, what they should do. And finally, in the student interview, preliminary findings, the most frequently heard thing that I heard was teacher is the most influential motivating factor in a class. Teacher behaviors and also teacher's motivation and enthusiasm. I try to finish every interview, after talking for like 30, 40, sometimes an hour, minutes, sometimes an hour. I ask them, I finish the interview with, okay, tell me one thing that was the most influential throughout the semester for your L2 motivation. What really, really was the most influential factor on you? And they said, oh, of course, teacher. They were like, oh, of course, teacher. That was awesome. So, as I said, I already conducted my 2 interviews with 2 of the instructors. And the common point between the student and teacher interviews was this transferability issue. Transferability of the academic skills developed in 101 and 102 to, let's say, like transfer them to what? To their departmental courses, to their academic or professional future, or to their everyday life. They want to see that this 102 is not only to make them read or write. They want to see that 102 or 101 are indeed going to be beneficial to them in the long run. Not only to achieve, not only to succeed this semester, not only to pass this class, to hate being motivated through instrumental reasons like grades. So many students told me, so many of them told me that they hate being graded. Indeed, this English lesson, this is not a lesson. One of the students said this is not a lesson, he said. Hocam bu bizim bölümde aldığımız dersler gibi bir ders değil dedi. He said learning English is a process. He said English is in our lives. It's everywhere. So being graded it just doesn't make sense, he said.
What was his suggestion then?
Not being graded, yeah.
But
Not even going. We having watching videos. Yeah.
Do you have only 2 or do you have more? Because if you have more, maybe I'll see.
I couldn't go over all the interviews
Then
yet.
maybe like
These are exactly
just-
preliminary.
You may remember it from your memory. Did they say anything about speaking?
Of course, that's why they love the interactive collaborative group works, because they say we have to learn how to speak. We have to we have to practice speaking. So that's why they love the interactive collaborative group work, because they were able to speak.
Because in
Yeah, of
other
course.
research studies,
Yeah.
always like speaking.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's what they're scared of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like that's what they want to do most.
Yeah.
So that's why.
So one of the students said, for example, that all of their departmental courses, and this student was a computer engineer, he said that all of the courses were taken in auditorium, like huge classes, and he said there are so many students that the instructor cannot cannot interact with us. So there's no interaction in class. We just sit and listen to the lecture of the professor. But when we come to the English class, what did he say? He said the physical environment of the English class was the most influential factor on his ultimate motivation, for example. This is what he exactly said, and he conducted the interview in English, by the way. He said the physical atmosphere. I had to ask him to elaborate what he means by the physical environment, like not the teacher, not the materials, but the classes, the seats, what do you mean? So this was his explanation, because the other classes are all in the auditorium period. So he said this small class with a small group of students with whom I speak and interact and get to know, I feel more comfortable and I feel more motivated, and that's why I love English classes so much, he said. Yeah, definitely Halia. Experiences of seniors. This is another thing that they thought would be really helpful to increase their awareness and their motivation. They said if we hear senior students, like third year or fourth year students in their programs, or graduates of their programs, they said it would really motivate them.
No, so I can say something about this. Like, so you know, we're conducting these interviews with the people in the sector, and we have some graduates who are willing to do this. They said if you make a video, so we can kind of like talk about like our career and how important English was for us. So if the president's office like gives the approval, or I don't know, maybe Özlem Hoca, so we're going to do something like that.
Yeah, even those 3 videos that I brought from the US, videos of my friends and one professor, the 3 were students. One of them was there on a Fulbright scholarship, one of them was there on YÖK scholarship, and the other one was there on the university scholarship. I especially chose people with different scholarship backgrounds so that they could set models to our METU students, and they found even those 3 videos they found very influential.
Were they METU graduates?
One of the professor was a METU graduate and from civil engineering, if I'm not wrong, and he's a professor now there. The other one is a METU graduate from the same program with Hali and me, foreign language education. And the other one was a graduate of Balıkesir University, I guess, a Turkish medium university from the math program, and he was there working on his PhD in the US with very little English that he had. So he had to attend the intensive English program at the university, and he was my student while I was working there, by the way. That's how I know him. So he's suggesting to our students in the video, hey look, I'm a graduate of a Turkish medium university, and I was granted this YÖK scholarship to work on my PhD, but I had no English. So he said he had to study 8 months here in Turkey first, and then 8 months there in the US before he was able to start his PhD. And he says, see, I lost 16 months of my life, and you, as the graduates of METU, are more advantaged than I am, so you don't have to lose all this time. So that was also very influential. One of the students pointed that out as well. He said, oh, if you could do this, I could do this as well. Okay, geçelim hocam. So, we shared the preliminary results of our classroom observations and student-teacher interviews, and I would like to point out one fact that research agrees with us, or our results aligns with the research demek belki daha doğru olur. Teachers' own behavior and motivation is perceived as the most influential factor on students' motivation, and I did some research on what do we mean by this, like which teacher or what kind of a teacher is the most influential teacher on students, and research indicates that the enthusiastic teachers, those showing dedication and passion for their subject, and those knowing their content area well and making it possible to process or learn for their students, because they instill in students a similar willingness to pursue knowledge, to pursue learning English. I have one more student interview that I would like to share with you just for this. One of the students said, the question was, so much what motivates you in class? The answer was nothing. And it was a sharp, abrupt, spontaneous nothing. He didn't even think twice. And I was shocked, of course. So
Not
I
my
asked.
student.
So I asked. Of course, I did everything I could as a researcher, and forget about being a researcher as a teacher. Like, how could this be possible? So the student said, "Okay, nothing really motivates me. However, there's one thing." And he was so cool, you know, one of those computer engineer students. The teacher worked so hard, and it is so easy to understand that he spent at least 2 or 3 hours on any of those activities that she brings to the class. So I feel so bad about this because she's such a nice person. Vicdan, bunu İngilizcesinde kullanacağım maalesef. Vicdan yapıyorum dedi. So just because of that, I say, come on, X, come on, Ayşe, you should do this. So the enthusiastic teachers, diligent worker, passionate, dedicated teachers can't even if we cannot increase their motivational awareness, at least we can make them become active participants. Feel guilty and become active participants.
That's similar, for example, one of the students came to me and said, Hocam, I know kind of you try so hard, but it's my personality. They try to comfort me, so don't feel sad.
Don't be offended.
I don't speak even in Turkish, so the thing is, but this is not my.
Şimdi burada artık handout'umuza bakabiliriz arkadaşlar.
Lütfen.
Elimizde ne var? Yeah. I did have strategy logs as well, and my experimental group instructors found this handout very useful. Tabii hocam, şunu da öğretin. They found this strategy log very useful because they told me specifically that this strategy log kept them on track. So I asked them, this is my suggestion of course, everything is a suggestion, right? I don't need to point that out. So what I asked my instructors was to have this on your desk in your office, and just have a look at it before you go to the class. And while you're walking to the class, think about, which of these I can implement today, according to my content, according to my student group, because every strategy does not work with every student group. And in every class we have different dynamics, like our interaction is different with our students. So anyway, after the class, I asked my teachers, come to your office and put a tick next to the strategy that you used this class. So one of my instructors in the interview told me that the first week, she was only able to take 1 or 2 or let's say 3 strategies, and then next day it increased, and then finally she was able to take more strategies, and that increased her awareness as a teacher having developed motivational teaching practice. So you could do the same if there are any strategies that you're not sure how to integrate it to your teaching or how it would work in these 1 or 2 classes. Please feel free to ask me, or after I'm gone, you could ask Elif, Filiz, or Hale.
Bugün jüri yaptım, en çok uygulama.
Süpersiniz.
Mustafa bize bir 7-8 tane çay getirsen keşke.
Ya çaydan alırım şimdi. Ne yapalım arkadaşlar? Nasıl gidelim bundan sonra?